Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Warrior Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us. We're brought to you by Russell and Associates, and we'll start out this week's show by talking with men's basketball head coach Todd Eisner. And Coach Eisner, a couple of tough games on the road. I won't really say anything. I'll get your thoughts. Let's start out against Augustana, a nationally ranked team. Your thoughts on the game against Augustana first.
Yeah, it was probably a really good game to watch. As two teams that fought really hard, defended really well, for the most part through 40 minutes. And I thought our guys really battled. I thought we showed really good toughness. Augie's legit. I mean, they've lost at Wayne early this year, and then lost at Upper Iowa without Tyler Remersma. So, we had a chance. We were down 5 with them at the free throw line. They missed 3 straight front ends of the bonus. And we had 2 turnovers and a forced shot to get it to a 1-possession game with about 2 minutes to go. And so I was really, proud of our guys with the way they battled. But we really struggled on the offensive end. Augie got up in us, took us out of our comfort area offensively. And so we had gone 3 straight games where we'd played really well offensively. And then this was a tough weekend for us on the offensive end, starting with Friday.
And three-point shooting was kind of a problem on both games. Any insights into that? Was it just bad luck or bad shots taken?
I think we got a couple of looks both nights early that we didn't knock down. And, shooting's pretty contagious. When you make a bunch in a row, a lot of times that carries over to everybody else. And when you miss a bunch, or at least some early ones like we did Friday and Saturday, it also becomes contagious. Both teams, Augie and Wayne, were really good defensively from the three-point line. I think teams are shooting only 30% from the 3 against Augie and 32% against Wayne. So they both do a really good job of covering the three-point line. And so a lot of our looks were contested. Like I said, we got a couple of good ones early, didn't go down. And then as the game went on, the looks weren't as good anymore. And so we really struggled both nights shooting the ball.
All right, back to Augustana for just a second. Luke Martins had a great game, 22 points. Career high for Luke Martins. Talk about his performance on Friday.
Luke's just a fighter, and we started out 0 for 11 from the 3, and then Luke knocked a couple down towards the end of the first half that kind of kept us in it and got us back to within striking distance when we went into the locker room at halftime. But what you see is what you get out of Luke. He puts in a lot of time. He works on his game, and from an offensive standpoint, and then defensively, he's our best rebounder at both ends of the floor, and really he does yeoman's work inside for us, and we really need it. I mean, he's a 6'4", kind of a combo forward that fights guys that are 2 or 3 inches bigger and 20 pounds heavier each and every night in our league, and is still really producing at a high level at both ends.
During the broadcast this year, I've kind of likened the way that Luke is playing this year, although we've seen him produce over the past couple of years, but I've kind of likened Luke to Devin Whitelow in kind of the same category. And for some may say, well, how do you see that? And I say, well, Luke is good offensively and defensively, but he tends to choose one of those to excel at in a game. And I think the same is for Devin Whitelow. He has been a great assist person, a great point guard distributing the ball. This year, he's been asked to pick up a little bit more of the scoring opportunity, and he's been able to do that. It's always been there, but he's chosen to focus on one area. When you hear that, does that make sense to you? And how do you coach players where they can do whatever they need to do on the floor, but maybe you need them in one capacity more than another?
Yeah, I think it's a valid comparison. I think where it starts, Justin, to be real honest with you, is they both have such a tremendous competitive spirit and fight to their game. And so that's the first characteristic that sticks out for both of them, is that, if I was in a foxhole and I needed 2 guys to protect me, those would be the 2 guys that I would pick right off the top of my head, just because they're gonna go down swinging every single game. And and so Luke's been our Swiss Army knife. He's last year with Alec Hurd, he played more of the 3 or a wing for us. Yet we moved him to the 5 at times. He's got a great mind for the game in terms of picking up our scouting reports about both with what we do and what our opponents do. And Dev's the same way. I mean, we could probably put Dev at the 5 and he would know what he's doing there too, which every point guard's supposed to. But Luke will play wherever we ask him to play. He'll compete at a high level. He's been productive really wherever we put him, but even more productive this year, taking over Kev's spot. But he's a different type of player than Kev. He's rebounding well. He's defending well. Just brings a really good toughness to us at both ends of the floor.
All right. We need to move on then to Saturday and Wayne State. And, taking nothing away from Wayne, this was just a difficult game for you, shooting wise and defensively. Tell us what happened on Saturday.
It was a big game for us. I mean, we were a half game ahead of Wayne in third place. And obviously we're all positioning for, a hopeful spot in the conference tournament. Yet in the South, with 2 weeks to go, third through seventh place is only separated by 2 games. And so it was a big game for both teams. And Jordan Jansen had missed the last 3 games for Wayne and suited up and started, which certainly adds to their ability to be a really good team, as he's obviously the defending South Player of the Year. And we didn't show up. I mean, it was really disappointing. We struggled offensively, but yet they made a luck shot, to be real honest with you, at the end of the half to go up, I think 7 or 8. And yet, we didn't play well, but defended okay. I think they shot 40% the first half, but we were not very good. Both teams really pressured us this weekend on the perimeter and got us out of our comfort area. We didn't handle it very well. So we struggled to execute, didn't make shots. And then we came out in the second half and Wayne State scored the first 8 possessions that they had the ball and the game was over. And so I was really disappointed in our competitive spirit on the defensive end. The game offensively was already hard enough for us. And so the only chance we had was to defend at a high level and we didn't do it. And so that was disappointing. We've put ourselves in a really tough spot now, with 2 weeks to go, where we're going to play 2 teams that are right there with us, fighting for spots that both beat us the first time we played. And where if we would have done our job on Saturday in particular, we would have had a little bit of a cushion going into the last 2 weeks ahead of everybody, except for the first 2 teams in Augie and Upper Iowa. So we're right in the mix. We're thankfully, Southwest and Sioux Falls lost on Saturday. So, we're all in a big bunch here, 3rd through 7th, and 7th place doesn't play in the postseason. So we've got a lot of work to do, starting with Friday night with Sioux Falls.
Yeah, you talked about it last week about the playoffs and the new format this year, where only the top 12 teams make it into the playoffs this year. And I've been trying to make heads or tails out of, the different scenarios so that we can talk about it this weekend. I understand that there's a conference meeting this week to try to hash out different things because not everybody has played the same amount of games. And so trying to figure out that seeding and that is difficult, especially on the women's side. And so we'll hopefully have that as we get to the games this past week or this next weekend. But does that even factor in now, or do you just kind of figure out what you're going to do on the court and worry about the playoffs later?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, obviously we got to win games, and if we got 3 of our last 4 at home, we got 3 in a row at home. So we can control a little bit of what happens to us, obviously by playing better. We didn't play very well the first time we saw these 2 teams coming in this weekend. It was right before we kind of got stuck with our little COVID incident right before Christmas, but we got to play better, and both teams control tempo. They don't mind it being a low-scoring game. Sioux Falls likes to play football on a basketball court and tries to play very aggressive and tough. And so we're going to have to handle that on Friday. And that's really the only focus we have right now. Obviously, in our league, we've got to prepare for both teams, but we got to figure out a way to win Friday and wake up the next day and be ready to do it again. But right now, we can't worry about the postseason. We just got to take care of winning games. And if we win games, we'll be in the postseason.
Yeah, both the teams that you played earlier this year, unfortunately, you lost to, and the Southwest game was a little difficult. Just to refresh people's memory, I think the last 7 minutes and 50 seconds of the game, there were only 3 points scored total. all those by Southwest in that game. So obviously it's going to be a fight against Southwest, and it's going to be a fight against Sioux Falls as well. But what do you take away from those games, and how do you prepare for those this weekend?
Well, the concern I have a little bit is, I thought we fought pretty well against Southwest and just were anemic offensively. Obviously, we shot 20% the second half and scored 10 points, which, I've coached, I don't know, close to 800 games. And I don't even know if that's possible, but we obviously proved it was. But we spent a lot of energy on Friday night trying to figure out a way to get through that game. Unfortunately, we didn't. And then played really hard the first half at Sioux Falls. Up 4, and then kind of very similar to this past Saturday. We didn't guard at all in the second half and let Sioux Falls take it to us. And so the concern I have is obviously we kind of did the same thing this past weekend. We really spent a lot of energy at Augie on Friday night and played just okay in the first half, but was still within striking distance, and then had nothing in the second half, similar to the Sioux Falls second half. So we got to figure some things out. I mean, it's late in the year. It's not like we're going to turn around and do more conditioning drills or whatever that may be going into the last 2 weeks. But we got to buck up a little bit here and have a little more toughness to us on both ends of the floor, because these two teams are definitely going to physically challenge us, and rightfully so. If they watch the film from this weekend, which they will, getting out and challenging us physically would be a good plan, and we've got to handle it better.
All right. And then, you mentioned it's towards the end of the season, only a couple of regular season games left. How are you health-wise heading into this weekend?
Okay. Connor Dillon's dealing with the flu right now, and got sick on the bus on the way home Saturday night, and still struggling a little bit yet this morning. And Carson Arns had the flu earlier in the week, and they all live together. So I'm assuming that's kind of running through the house probably. And the goal is obviously for Connor to get better and feel better, and keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't start to run through our guys. Like I said, we got put behind the 8 ball a little bit the last time we played these two teams, as guys were sick going into that weekend. And then when we got back, that's when everything broke loose with our COVID issues. So we're hoping it's not that, but we also hope it doesn't run through the team, because we need to be at full strength as best we can.
Do you feel you're at some of an advantage because most of your games are at home as we end the season?
Well, we need to take advantage of it. We played pretty well at home so far this year, but it doesn't matter where we play right now. We've got to play better, and we played certainly on Saturday. Saturday was as bad a performance as we've had. Wayne State had a lot to do with that. They took us out of our comfort area, and we didn't react to it very well on either end of the floor. And so we've got to get back to playing, like we did Friday. I mean, we just didn't score Friday, and that had credit to Augie there, but I'll live with what we did on Friday at every game this year and just hope that we're better. But Saturday was very disappointing in terms of just our approach and our fight to the game. So we've got to get back to, I guess, what we consider to be normal, and let everything else take care of itself.
Well, hopefully Saturday is a motivation for your guys to come out strong this Friday and Saturday at home. And we're looking forward to those games this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a fun weekend. Obviously, anytime we can play at home, and we're running out of days. We got 3 more games at home here and 2 weeks left in the season, and keep our fingers crossed that we play well enough here the last 2 weeks to put ourselves in position to have an opportunity in the postseason to see what happens. But right now, our only focus is on Friday with Sioux Falls.
All right. Well, we appreciate the time and the insights, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Justin.
All right. We're going to take a break here on Warrior Fast Break. When we come back, we'll talk Warrior women's basketball with head coach Scott Ballard right after this. And welcome back to Warrior Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. We're going to talk women's basketball now with head coach Scott Ballard. And Coach Ballard, just get your thoughts here on the weekend. I know the Augustana game probably was a little frustrating, and so was Wayne State, which was a little bit closer. Your thoughts on how the games went this weekend?
Well, they went as the score indicated. They went the wrong way. Actually, I was more frustrated with the Wayne game because I felt like Augustana they just beat us. They physically beat us on the boards, and both games, once again, we had a poor 3-point shooting night, and for the last couple of weeks, we shot well from 3-point land, but Caitlin Riley a week ago, she goes 6 for 7 in one game. This weekend, she's 1 for 15. The shooting is a crazy thing. Maddie, she struggled shooting the ball from 3-point land this weekend as well. Taylor Husted and Emily Keek played well both games. Offensively, Wayne, they had the leading scorer in the league in Kylie Hammer, and she had 31 the first time we played them. This time we held her to 29. But they did most of their damage from 3-point land. I think in the first half, they were 9 of 12 or 9 of 15 from 3-point land in the first half. We were down 20, started the fourth quarter. We pressed the entire quarter, went with a smaller lineup, 4 guards and a post, and had a tremendous comeback. We scored 32 points in the fourth quarter. We were down 2 with a minute to go. And unfortunately, we were called for a foul that led to 2 points for them. And they were able to, hang on to the ball the last minute and preserve the win. But we started off kind of flat the first quarter against Wayne, and didn't communicate like we need to defensively, and we end up turning not Hammer loose as much as a second kid that they had who was averaging about, 9-10 points a game, ended up scoring like 21, and they both hit 5 threes apiece, and we just, we scored 84 points. I feel like if we score 84 points, we should win. And so I was more frustrated with that game and the outcome than I was with Augustana, because Augustana is a better team, and we physically got worked on the boards with Augustana. Wayne, we made him turn the ball over 20 times, but we just allowed them to shoot the ball too well from 3-point land between 2 different players, and it was just too little too late. So that's one. I can't say that's one that we let get away, because we never had it. We were down 10 at the end of the first quarter and gave up 27 points. I think we were down 15 at half. They outscored us 5 in the third quarter, and we dug a hole too deep. It was good to see us fight back, and for the first time this year, go with a smaller lineup out of desperation and necessity. But we might have stumbled onto something that could work for us this coming weekend.
One of the other things about the Wayne State game, which kind of went against you, was free throw shooting. Unfortunately, 17 of 25 for free throw shooting. I guess that happens sometimes, but you have been kind of consistently one of the best free throw shooting teams in the conference.
Yeah. The good thing is we got to the free throw line a lot. Bad thing is we had an off night, from the free throw line, which is uncharacteristic for us. So that could have made a difference in the game. So that's another part of why it was frustrating to lose that game for a number of reasons. But you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you get ready for the next game. And our remaining 4 games, we lost to these 4 teams first time we played them in our division. But this weekend is real important for us because with us losing both games this weekend, we dropped from 4th to 6th, and now we are 8-10, and Wayne is 6-10. So now they are in shouting distance. So it's going to come down to who takes care of their business the best in the next 2 weekends.
Yeah, and I know that we're trying to figure out exactly how the seedings are going to work in the NSIC, because I know that just looking at the NSIC website for the championships, they say they base everything off a 22-game conference schedule, but I don't know how many teams are actually going to get 22 games in.
Well, that's been rescinded,
Okay.
revised, because there's only like 3 teams out of 16 that have played all of their conference games to this point. We happen to be one of them, and I think Duluth and St. Cloud are the other 2 in the other division. So they're going to go by winning percentage to determine seeding and standings for the conference tournament.
Okay.
They're taking the top 6 in each division. That's the cutoff. But there's so much variation in the number of games that different teams have been able to play within the conference schedule, that the only fair way for them to do it is to go according to winning percentage.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously those games this weekend are going to be big, and we'll talk about those in just a minute. But I want to try to highlight some players here, and you talked about Taylor Husted and Emily Keek. We haven't really talked a lot about Emily Keek, but here in the late part of the season, she's really turned on the scoring. 19 points against Augustana, and I think 21 points against Wayne State. Talk about what Emily Keek has been able to do this second half of the season.
Well, Emily has played at a high level for the last 4 weeks, and I think she's playing the best ball of her career so far right now. And she's playing like a senior. She's taking care of the basketball. She's making good decisions. She's running the team. She's being aggressive. She's improved her 3-point shooting to the point now that people have to respect it. So now she has opportunities to beat people off of the bounce, because they have to be concerned about the 3-point shot. I think she was 3 for 4 against Wayne. That's been something that she spent a lot of time working on in the last year and a half, because people were not playing her honest a year ago. They were sagging off of her, so she wasn't able to get her drives to the basket. And I'm really happy for her. All the time that she has put into it is starting to pay off, and she's in the gym every day, working on her 3-point shot, and has gained a lot of confidence in it. So I compliment her for her approach and commitment to getting better. No, she is playing her best basketball. She's playing a lot of minutes for us, and she's doing a good job defensively as well.
All right. So you're home this weekend. Sioux Falls and Southwest Minnesota State are the opponents this weekend. And as you said earlier, lost to both of these teams. What do you think is going to be different this second time around facing these teams?
Well, a couple things that'll be different is we'll have Taylor Husted and Maddie Schmitz. Tay didn't make the trip. She was sick. We were going through a lot of sickness then. An hour before we got on the bus for that trip, we learned that Fetch had broken her hand. Ava Sergio had been out for a week with her sprained ankle. Caitlin Riley and Alex Dornfeld both had been really sick, and I don't even know if they had a full day of practice that entire week. So we were a MASH unit, and we played a lot of zone in both those games because our depth was depleted. We started, Lindsey Hahn started both games that weekend, and I think Vanessa Alexander did as well. So there were a lot of people in different roles for the first time. But they're both good teams. We just
we weren't the best version of ourselves when we played them then. And it's tough to do when you don't have time to prepare to play without certain people that you're used to. And we were just trying to function, honestly. But you know, we're used to playing with what we have now, and you know, we both teams know each other really well, so there's not going to be any surprises. It's just going to come down to, you know, who's the most consistent both ends of the floor for 40 minutes.
All right, and then the last question that we usually have is just health-wise, how are you doing heading into this weekend?
Well, as of today, we're okay. Caitlin Shrimp maybe dodged a concussion on Saturday's game, but we've held her out today and tomorrow just for precautionary reasons. So we're hoping that she's going to be, you know, good to go. And Taylor Fouch is still out with concussion symptoms as well.
All right, and then I know that when we saw you last at McCowan Gymnasium, Lauren Fetch had her cast taken off when she went to talk to the people at the scorer's table. Is she going to get another year? Because I know that she was already out because of the COVID, but with the injury, does she get another year?
Yeah, her and Ava both will get a medical red shirt. So that's good news for next year, but
right.
You know, we miss them now.
Exactly. Do you feel like you have a little bit of a leg up on your opponents because you'll be playing 3 out of your last 4 games at home?
No, because we've been 500 wherever we play, home or on the road. It really, I tell our players this, the most important thing is not where you play or who you play, but it's how you play. And, you know, I mean, we have to play better than we did the first time around, regardless of where the game is at. You know, Sioux Falls is going through a little tough stretch now themselves. They've lost 4 in a row. Southwest had lost, I don't know, 3 or 4 in a row. And then last weekend at home, they beat Mankato and Concordia both. It's like, it's all over the place. It really comes down to being ready to play and playing with a lot of energy, you know, that 40 minutes, that particular day. Not every team is good on the road. Some are really much better at home. You know, Minot's an example. They had won 4 in a row at home, and then they go on the road, and now they've lost 4 in a row. So some teams just have a hard time bringing the same energy and focus on the road compared to being at home. So, you know, it's nice to be at home. We don't have to deal with all the logistics of travel, but we still have to be better than what we were the first time we played them.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time and the insight this week, and good luck this weekend.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for watching Warrior Fast Break here on HBC. We'll see you next time.